everybody, so quick glass of water and back here at How To on Adobe Live, How To Graphic Design. Today we're going to be working on a restaurant menu in InDesign. We just finished the Illustrator Credit Challenge, so don't forget to stay tuned because every day 11:30 there is always a challenge, in this case with yours truly, for 2 weeks in Illustrator, sharpening those skills and learning new techniques throughout marketing, illustration, typography, and so much more. Please tell me that you can hear me because we had some little issues at the stream before, so I just want to make sure that everything was working before I jumped into this one here. I can see Carol, Per, Annika in the chat, Stacy, Misty, Clever. Thank you so much for joining us here on Adobe Live. We're streaming both on Behance and YouTube. You're all welcome here to learn together. Welcome to ask questions. And as I said here, always, we're here together to learn together. Clever is saying, "Dear InDesign, I love you." Oh, Claire, I thought that it was for me. No, I'm just joking. I'm so happy to see you here. Biola says, "I made it. I know you were going to be here for the InDesign stream." Dorina, Rob, thank you so much, everybody. If you have any questions, feel free to send me a message here in chat. The chat that I'm monitoring is the chat on Behance. So let's get started with this stream. So as I said, we just finished, and I'm actually, I'm the same person. That's the beauty of the live. I'm actually going to take it right back for those of you that were working with us in Illustrator, and it might be a good idea if I actually show you my screen. Here we are. Perfect. So here, this is actually where we left it in the Illustrator challenges. So here we were working in Illustrator. We have our text. We learn how to split columns, how to create a design for print. So make sure to go and check it out if you're interested in to use Illustrator, because you can create files for print. There's so many people that I can hear in design that they say, I only use InDesign. You cannot use Illustrator. Well, you can use both. And that's why I decided today to have this stream back to back, because you can use, the beauty of these apps is that you can make whatever you want with them. And in fact, if we have time at the end, I also want to jump into Express, really taking advantage of this wonderful creative cloud that is there at our fingertips to make our job easier, to work faster, and to have wonderful assets at our disposal for these creating these amazing graphics. So we can work fast, we can get a lot done, and we can get some holidays as well. So the beauty of working with this app is to just work faster, optimize the workflow, and create whatever comes in your minds. And by the way, let me know in the chat, because it happens to me. I dream about designing so much. I don't know if because I work so many hours, but I literally dream about the work that I want to do. I come up with ideas during the night. So perfect. So let's go ahead and head back into InDesign. Oh, what happened? Biola said I had a huge fight with InDesign today. Let us know. Dorina said a little sequel from the previous stream. Of course, I'm here. I'm the same person. And I'm actually streaming from Manchester. Let me know where are you watching from. And I think we have 5 minutes of a chit chat here. I think we're ready to start. So I'm going to show you different options, how to create a menu that is a single page menu, but also how to set up a menu that is a folded menu. I brought here this example of my clients because they told me that I could share it. We're gonna have some sharing some Turkish food here. So this is what is called saddle stitch menu. So a saddle stitch menu is a menu that is made by different facing pages. They're one next to the other, and then they have these little stitches at the end. Let me see, probably if I had back into this working space, you can see it better. There we go. So unfortunately the cover is green, but you can see that they have some stitches on the side, and I can show you here as well in the middle, and those are the elements that keep this menu together. So saddle stitching is a printing technique that you can ask and refer to your printer, and they will be able to help you out when created a booklet menu. But we're going to start simply by creating a single page. So I'm going to show you first how to set up your files, and then we're going to talk about paragraph style and the difference also between Illustrator and InDesign, and we're going to have a little bit more of a deep dive. At the same time, if you have a question, please feel free to use it in the chat. I can see the lovely Annika here helping us out. Again, thank you so much for reposting the questions. Question from Dorina. When I exported an image with 5mm bleed from Illustrator into InDesign, the image appeared trimmed just to the dimension of the artboard. How do I see the bleeds? Okay, so let's take this question, and how you exported this image in Illustrator is my question to you. Let me show you how you export the image. So in order to export the image with bleed, first of all, even if you're exporting using the export for screen, which is not the correct one for the printing, but you want to make sure that you tick include bleed. So the include bleed area allows you to have the entire area on. Although the best way to export for print is to head to File and Save As. Save As allows you to save on your computer, on your Creative Cloud, which is very useful. You can choose whatever you want. But the option here, and again, the beauty of working with Creative Cloud, we're going to jump back into a second, are infinite. You can access different version of your files. You can access from anywhere. You can access on the iPad as well, through other different apps. So I would strongly recommend you to dive into the cloud documents if you haven't worked with a Creative Cloud document before. But anyway, here all you have to do is to choose your destination, then the format, select the Adobe PDF format, and from there click on Save. Here you want to select and make sure that mark and bleeds are there. We're going to do the same for InDesign. It's the same path. So we're just simply showing something that we were going to do at the end now, since we're coming through from the challenges. And then here you want to make sure that either all printer marks or simply that document bleed settings are ticked. Once you do so and you save as a PDF, I believe that I actually saved it into my background now, you will see, let me see if it appears on my desktop. Here it is. So here we do have our bleed already in. Now the reason why you don't see it is because I don't have the trim mark. I'm going to go ahead and close this document so you will find a better way to actually see it. So again, if I go to File and then Save As, we can save it on my computer again, and then Adobe PDF, click on Save. We want to replace the file that we have, and we want to custom, or you can also choose the high quality print. Mark and bleeds, in this case, I'm going to activate the trim marks and the bleed settings, and then Save PDF. Now, the reason why I have the trim is because now you can really see those bleeds being saved there. If you do not have the trim marks, it looks like you don't have the bleed. But in reality, you can see that basically this space that is over here, so this area over here, those are the 3mm on the top that gives the printer room to trim your document. So you really want to work on the bleed. And talking about that, let's learn how to do that when using an InDesign file. So let me go ahead and see if there is any question. If you want to see it trimmed or like Kladi as on the screen, you just use press W and it will toggle between views. Yes, so let's go ahead and start this new document. So I'm going to go ahead and click on a new file. Use the chat on behance.net/live to send me your questions about graphic design, about printing. Today we're going to talk about finishing, like having something like maybe a gold finishing on or a foil. How do we signal to our printer that we want to add some special finishing, maybe some gloss, some all the wonderful beauty of tactile to add to our menu as well. To start, first of all, once you click on a new file to open a new document, you want to make sure that you let InDesign know which one is the purpose of your design. Again, in this case, the purpose is print. So you will be able to click on the print tab in order to automatically tell InDesign that we're going to be working inside the output of our document. It will be for print. And by doing so, already InDesign start to work us out our preset details. By the way, you can save those details, especially when you're working on a booklet. We're gonna do both documents first, so we can have them open, and then we're gonna start to also look at the difference between them. So here you can give a name to this preset. I'm gonna call it A4 menu. Oops, look what happened there. I think I just pressed return. Let's go ahead and start again. So new file and print, and then here you can give whatever you want. So you can call it menu, and then whatever size. In this case, I'm going to use an A4. And you already see that the width and the height is already set because I'm using this blank document preset. Now the preset is very useful for things like having the margin already set where you wanted. I like a nice margin, perhaps something like 20 millimeters. And as you can see here, once we're working on a single side, so whenever we do not have facing pages, so you want to make sure that this facing pages is unticked to work on a single page menu, you will see that the margin are going to be top, bottom, left, and right because we're literally working with a single page. So we're going to be determining the, actually, let me open up this page. So whatever are the margin at the top, at the side, left and right, and of course at the bottom. As I said, I like and enjoy to have quite high margins so you can frame the content and just make it a little bit easier for the eye to go right inside the actual text. Bleed, like we were talking before, the bleed is the safe area that allows your printer to cut your background color and your background image without leaving those ugly white areas that looks like, you know, you've not done a job correctly, because sometimes it can happen with the printers. The blade can slide a little bit, and then whenever it trims the page, the paper is white. So whatever color have you used for your print is going to show a line in between. That's why we stretch our background, or we make it a little bit larger so we give the printer the chance to make a mistake and nobody's going to know it. As we said before, the standard is 3 millimeter or not 0.125 inches. And again, this is just a standard measure. You can use whatever you want. Check with your printer. I always suggest that. Perfect. The slug is also something we may add it in this document. It's basically just another area, but the slug is usually there to add information for the printer. So it's basically an area that you can then go ahead and save whenever you export your PDF for your print, and you can leave a message. It's basically like a space to write a note for your printer. If you were working like with your printer one-to-one in person, you will probably be able to leave like a post-it on it, or just a note scribble at the back. But in this case, if we add a slug, it will just be another little area around our document. And in fact, I tend to add it just on the top, because it's just a little area that then I will include into my document, where maybe I will let the printer know, especially when working with finishing, hey, this is the actual file in which I'm going to use foil or gloss or whatever else. Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out, and I would strongly recommend you also to click the preview in order to see what is going on here. So the slug, it needs to be always a little bit bigger of our bleed, and I'm just going to go ahead and see if we can see it here. I'm actually going to add that on the side just so I can actually show you, and then I'm going to zoom in so hopefully everybody can see just right here. So this little blue line is the slug. So this is the space where I can write a message to my printer, and I usually have it on top. The red area, this is the line that delimits the bleed. So that's where we're going to stretch our images to, while this black line is what determines the actual trim line. So where the actual bleed is going to go and be cut. Clever is saying, dear printer, save the scotch from Steve after his job. Yes, they're so cool. You can leave any message you want, and I think it's very, very useful. But I would strongly recommend you to ring up your printer. Don't be afraid. It's very beautiful to build a relationship with your printer. It will help you out, and it will help you to create even better and even more. Fantastic. So this area, the very outside is the slug, then we have the bleed, and then we have the margin. We're going to be able also to see how those changes. So for example, you can make the slug larger. I'm going to make it on the side. You can see that line is quite invisible there, but you can see that now I just made it larger. So that's the beauty of working with a preview, because it allows you to just see the changes that you make live, even with your margin. If I move this down, you can see that this area inside with the pink line is actually the margin, and you can see if you're happy or not, so you can increase or decrease the number of your margin. Once you're ready, you can click on create. If you like to use these settings over and over again, you can click on this icon over here in order to save this document presets, and we're going to call it menu A4. and then click on Save Preset. And then every other time, if you, for example, just simply open and you go back to your welcome screen and go to the new file, if you just head to your saved preset, you will see that automatically we have our menu A4 that we just created. So you know already what your document is looking like. That's so useful, especially when you work with the same client over and over again. And you will be able to actually have that ready for you to go. So I'm going to go ahead and click on menu A4 and Adobe Cadabra. Here is everything ready. We have the 20 millimeters, we have the 3 millimeters bleed, we have the slug, everything is ready to go. All we have to do is to name our file, menu, how to, and then create, click on create. And now the document is actually opened. That doesn't mean that the document is saved. So what we're going to do right away now is to press Command S if you're working on a Mac, and that will be Control S if you're working on a Windows machine. Select your destination here. Again, I'm going to use my desktop, and I'm going to call it also single page. So then we will have the difference with a double page as well. And when done, simply click on save. And by doing so, if something happened, if your computer, your internet, something, your electricity shut down, you always have the opportunity of have a file, a version recovered. So always make sure to save it right away. Create a space on your machine to have a recovered version, just in case, you know, maybe the app crashes, your computer crashes. Bliss Art question. Do you use a CMYK Swatch book or anything like that when you're doing print work? Yes, I do. Not only I use one, but I use one with different paper. And I'm actually going to do something that I've probably never done before, but I'm going to try. I'm going to leave you a second and try to get those swatches because they're right around the corner. So I'm just going to leave you real quick and go right back, come back with the actual swatches. Here we go. So hopefully that didn't take that long, the beauty of the live, but it's definitely worth it. Talking about swatches. I'm absolutely destroying everything in the studio today. Another reason why it's important to work with your printer is because you can get access to these specific swatches that are exactly not only the color, but also the paper of your printer. So look what I have here. I have the different colors that this specific printer uses. And then I also have the different papers, so I can see how the color looks like on a gloss paper, on a silk paper, on a Star Mark paper, which is a specific gloss that they use, that this specific printer use. So yes, I do tend to use a general Pantone color, but here they have literally the breakdown in CMYK, and also they have the different paper quality. That's why I was stressing before how important it is to work with your printer. But absolutely, that is probably one of the best proof. That's why I jumped out real quick, because I wanted to show you can get access. And I didn't have it because I'm anyone special. I just rang and I wanted to visit, and look at that. That's even another paper. That's an uncoated paper. So you literally, when you have a meeting with your client, when you're working, you know what to expect. I have seen so many meetings go wrong simply because the client wasn't happy with they expected a color and another one went away, and then another one happened to display during the print. Having stuff like that, choosing the paper and choosing the color together, if you don't have the time to do test, is the way to go. So Bliss is saying, do you request it from the printer? Yes, you can request it. More printed have it, just because I wanted to bring myself a little bit forward on what we're going to be working on as well. So that's another one, by the way. Silk coat. I think I have like about 7 just for a printer. If you see my studio there, I'm probably going to do like a little behind the scene on my Instagram and show you. I have an entire bookcase just of paper and swatches. And that, of course, you know, that's what I piled up in the year. But the beauty here is that not only you can have that, but you can also start to see all the different finishing and how they look like on the actual paper. So you can really take it as far as you want with printing. In fact, and then I'm going to go back into designing, something else that you can do, and we're just talking about white paper here, is to use paper swatches. So you can take this to your meeting with the clients and literally go ahead and just jump back into the main screen so you can see it better. So those are all different colors and different materials. I would strongly recommend to either contact a paper supplier. Those are some Fedrigoni papers that I used when I published my book, or the printer, and ask for paper sample. Ask for paper sample, ask for color sample. Don't be shy. You will see how happy your client is when he gets exactly what he asks for. So again, color reference, I don't know if you can see, but they actually have the breakdown there. See, they actually have the breakdown there of the CMYK color. Perfect. Time to keep creating here. Hopefully this was helpful. And Annika is sharing my Instagram. My Instagram is @IamKladi. I'm actually doing a reel a day using Illustrator, Photoshop. I haven't got yet to InDesign. There is some Adobe Express in there. So go ahead and check out my Instagram if you want to learn a 1-minute tutorial with these wonderful apps. But let's keep going. So here we have our single page document. We saved it. We create our bleed. We create our margin. By the way, thank you so much to whoever asked the question. I think it was very Bliss Art. It was a very important question to talk about color, and keep your questions coming. So now we have our lovely document. So how do we proceed further? Again, layers. Layers are, as in Illustrator, Photoshop, and InDesign, there are group containers that allow you to really take control of your content. So the first thing that I do, I always add 3 layers to all my documents. And by the way, every document that you open with these wonderful apps always opens up with 1 layer. At least you need 1 container for your graphics. So I'm going to double click to rename it, and I'm going to call this one background. Then I'm going to click on OK, and then click on the little plus icon located at the bottom of the layers panel in order to open up a new layer. Here you can have a double click on it, and I'm going to call this one graphics. So any other graphic element can be on top of the background, goes there. Then I have another layer which I call text, and this is the text which I call live, and that means that is the text ready to be edited. And then I add another layer. I know those are a lot of layers, but it's really important for you. You will see how beautiful it is at the end, that you can switch and control and turn on and off. And I'm going to zoom in because it looks like you guys cannot really see what I'm doing here. So we have background, graphics, text layer, and then the next one is outline text. Now the reason why I have 2 versions of the text is because the live text is the editable one, is literally the one that we're going to style and we're going to type in, and then we can go back and edit. But again, sometimes when we transform our file and we export it into a PDF, there could be issue. I know that nowadays is happening less and less, but sometimes there are issues with some fonts that they don't convert, or if you send the InDesign document, some people just send the InDesign document to the printer doesn't have that Adobe font or that specific font. Actually, if it's an Adobe font, it will update automatically thanks to the wonderful Adobe font integration in InDesign. But if you're using another font that is not part of the library and they cannot update and they don't have, it's always noted down on your checklist before sending something to print. Outline the text. That will allow you to transform your live text, so whatever you're typing, whatever font you're using, into a shape. So there is no chance of a mistake. It's basically like a design, like a graphic, so it cannot go wrong. So here on top of the live text, we're gonna have the text outline. Oops. Double click on it, make sure that we type it right. And then at the very top, I tend to have something like a space reserved for logos, just in case. It's very important that any logo, your client's logo, always is on top of everything, so it doesn't get covered. You don't never want to get your client's logo covered. And one more that we can add are the finishing. So I'm just going to call finishing, for example, foil. and then click on OK. So now we have created all these containers in which we know where to go when creating different aspects of our menu. Stacy's saying, keeping line on line layers. Awesome. Yes. And the beauty is that you can, use the eye icon to turn it on and off. And, because I'm so obsessed with making sure that my clients are happy, that I keep me and my team organized, I go to the extent in which I actually have different lights. So for example, today is on the 16th of August. So today I'm just going to go ahead and call this live text August 16, and then click on OK. Then if I have a meeting with my client, I perhaps duplicate it and not delete that first version of the text and just create another one, because trust me, especially if you work in the hospitality, cocktail bar, menu, they go back and forth over and over again. It's not your clients that is mad, they all do it. Everybody, human nature, it depends how the business goes, depends what the clients like. So you want to take different versions of the text layers, and let's go ahead and actually start to bring in some text. So to make sure that you bring the content inside the right place, just simply make sure that you select the layer that you want to work with. And in this case, I have some text from here for my Microsoft Word, so I can go ahead and just simply select it all and paste simply by pressing Command V in order to press the text, and it will automatically place it inside a text box. You can also start by creating a text area by choosing the type tool here from the toolbar, and then you can click and drag, and then you press again Command V or Control V to paste the text inside. Absolutely up to you. There is something else that you can do, which is also, let me zoom out so we can see everything here, which is, let me save this document, and I'm going to call it menu and put it on my desktop. There is something that you can do that I hope is going to work, which is to drag and drop the actual document. So can you see I have my document menu here? You can actually drop it inside InDesign, and it should literally, here we go. It's literally loaded inside my selector. So let me actually do this because I think that's so super cool. So I'm going to delete this text. Again, we're back on the page. I'm going to go inside my desktop. You can also do it from your Finder here, or, maybe if you're working on Windows, then select the Word document. This is simply my Word document with my menu. Click and drag it inside InDesign. And once you do so, make sure that you drag it in. I think that I clicked away. You will see that it is automatically loaded. I mean, I don't know if you can actually see it, but I can read it. Like it already says starters, all our mezzes come with pita bread. You can literally read that is right there. And all you have to do is to click and drag anywhere in your document, and boom, you automatically place the text. Does it only work with Word docs? Does it work with Google Docs? How would you drop a Google Doc file? That would be my question, Rob. It definitely works with Word docs. Kia is saying Kladi is through with the details. Yes. Well, that is what makes the difference in the quality of your work, just keeping attention to these details. Anyway, I think this is really, really cool. The fact that we can have our lovely Word menu, because that's what usually your client sends over. And here we have placed our text. Let me know in the chat if you want to move forward and style this text. And then, because I also wanted to show you how to do a facing page menu in order to do the saddle stitching one. If you guys like, if I show you the amount of books that I have here to show you, I can't move in my desk. My desk is so full of books and papers and color charts. It's actually a mess. But yeah, let me know if you want to go ahead and style the text, or if you'd rather see first how to set up the other file. Completely up to you. I'm going to leave it to the chat. And because I just want to leave some time also to jump in Express and show you how you can do that even further, depending on the job that you have, the role that you have. Annika is saying facing page menu. I'm actually going to take a sip of water while you choose. Oh, facing pages. Clever, please. Perfect. Okay. Barbara, everybody wants to see facing pages. Fantastic. So I'm going to press Command S and Control S to save this document, put it on hold, and start back and show you how to create a document with facing pages. And then once we have the document, we can focus on either of them to show you how to style the text using Next Style. And by the way, while I jump into the welcome screen here in InDesign, let me know if any of you knows about Next Styles, and it will have extra Kladi credit. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and make sure that we press Command S to save this document, and then press the a little icon in order to go back. And by the way, our document is not gone anywhere. We can always click on the back arrow here next to InDesign, and we can always access our document. It's still live. That's so super cool. Perfect. So now once we go back again, we start with new file. By the way, we can still leverage the power of the preset that we saved as a starting point, because maybe we're still going to work with a menu that has the same bleed, the same size, the same margin, but in this case will be a facing page. So we can always head to your saved document and then choose the menu A4, or you can head back and pretty much do whatever we've done. Select print as the intent, choose the number of pages, and so forth, so on. Once you select on saved and menu A4, what I want to show you is that the beauty of working with the preset is that not only you can access the preset, so you already have, you know, your size, our margin, our bleed, our slug, but then we can implement edits. So of course the first edit will be to add some pages. Maybe something like 6 will work, or 7, whatever, it doesn't really matter, because we just need to have some pages to show you how it works. And then look at the big difference here. Once we go ahead and tick these facing pages, I want to show you what happens here at the margin. So let's go ahead and select facing pages, and then here we can zoom in and see what's happening here at the margin. So the main difference is that instead of having top, bottom, inside and outside, we now have top, bottom, left and right, we now have inside and outside. Let me dig in back into my menu. The reason why we have inside and outside is because now we have a fold that is coming into place. So whenever you have a fold and whenever people open a book or something, it looks like that. You do not, you never like literally absolutely have it fully open. So we want to take in consideration, first of all, especially when working with books, that's why probably having a book will come handy. Here it is. When having a binded book, we see that we have some of the pages that actually goes in. So the more pages you have, the more the less you can see in the middle. So the inside margin will have to be larger than the outside margin. So this is the main takeaway on setting up a facing pages document. Always, at the very least, double the size of your inner margin, or at least add at least 5.5 millimeters, allows space in between. Now, when you're working with something that is like a saddle stitch menu that you can make flat quite easily, that's a bit less noticeable. So you perhaps can just add a little bit more. If you're working with a book that perhaps is bound, or like this one here, so, and has more pages. Of course, the more pages, and depending on the actual bounding, the pages will go in. So everything that you can see in this area over here, and I'm just gonna move into this landing just so you can probably see better. See, all this area over here of the page right here, you won't be able to see. So we really want to push and lift the content of your pages out. So you can see here we have literally more space on this page here on the side, so you can give some breathing space to your text and to your images. So hopefully that makes sense, and we can move forward and start to make our inside margin bigger. Now what happened? Because everything is linked by the little chain icon that makes all the settings the same, we will have first to unlink, then we can change it back. So actually let's link it so everything is 20. Then now we can unlink it, and we can simply change the inside and make it larger. You can make it 25 millimeters, or maybe you can double it, or just allow maybe 30 millimeters. That's absolutely up to you. You can always use your preview to actually see it. Now let's go ahead and click on create so we can actually open up this facing page document. Now you will see that here is much more clear. We have the space that is inside our document that is larger than the space that is outside the document. So the fold, or whenever we hold any of these folded items, it will look as good as a normal single page. Clever is saying perfect binding. Yeah, thank you so much, Clever. Kladi is a printologist. Kladi used to work at a printer. That was actually my first job after studying design. I actually worked inside a printer. So I'm absolute love printing. Printology is the science of printing, publication, and such. And I also published a book. So if you go and dig into my website, either on printmysoul.com, which is my studio, or I am Kladi, you will be able to see, or if you just simply type plant therapy, I'm Kladi, you will see the plant book that I published, that won an award, and so on. But let's move on. So once we have the pages here, something that you want to do is to allow page to shuffle. So once you want to go here is to head to your pages menu. By the way, if your workspace doesn't look like mine is actually set up to interactive document right now. Let's go ahead and head back to our maybe essential, and then reset essential. If you're not familiar with what I'm doing right now, those are workspaces. Workspaces allow you to have InDesign or any other app styled in terms of tools and panels to work faster. So as you can see, once I change to essential, I have my properties panel, my pages, and my CC library. So I have the essential to work with. If you want, you can create your own. Perhaps here we can bring in some styles like paragraph style, which comes with a character style. So we can go ahead and bring it in, and also bring in the paragraph style over there, and then maybe we can bring in some other one, like for example, that's what we can bring in. We can bring in the swatches panel over there and have it inside the group here with the editing tool. So we have character, paragraph style, and swatches, and so on. So you can literally change the workspace to look the way that you want, not only in terms of panels, but also in terms of where are they placed. I kind of like to have, you know, properties and swatches, so everything that is got to do with editing together. That I tend to have the contents of pages, I tend to have pages and layers together, so we can go ahead to window and bring in layers. By the way, all the panels are under the window menu. So I have pages and layers, so what everything that is about the structure of the document, and then I place usually links next to my CC library. So I have CC library and links, and those are the assets of a document. Then I have properties and swatches, which is usually how to set up a document. And I tend to have also the character style and the paragraph styles in there as well, because that's mainly the editing. Now, the beauty is that after you do all this work to make sure that you work faster, is that you can save that as your own preset. So you can go ahead and create a new workspace preset, and I'm going to call this one Kladi menu, just because I know that I don't have any like that. And you can capture the panel location and customization, so the panel that you have picked. Then simply go on and press on OK. And now this preset will be available for you. I started from essential because, you know, creating something like a menu is pretty much part of the essential thing that you can do within InDesign. Always try to start with one of the presets that is closer to the project that you want to do. And then the beauty is that when things get messy, so you start to bring things around just like that, and maybe your director, your clients, someone comes in and you don't want to look messy, or maybe you lost a layer panel, or maybe you're doing your paragraph styles and you lost your paragraph style, you don't know where they are. You can always select your workspace and select then reset, whatever is the name of your workspace. And in one click, everything will go back into place. Fantastic. So the last thing that I wanted to show you here, once you click pages, if you want to move pages around, that's something that I get asked all the time, is to move pages. So what if you've created content and you want to move the page 3 next to page 5, and then it doesn't go? Why? What happened? How to do so? So that's very simple. You want to select the pages panel, then click on the top flyout menu, and you want to make sure that you untick allow document page to shuffle, and then the other one as well. So allow select the spread to shuffle. So by doing so, it looks like I had only these pages selected. You want to make sure that you do it for everything here. There we go. So we have pages and spread to shuffle over there. So once we do that, you can literally move around the page. So if you wish, you can move and swap any page with it. That is so useful. Sometimes when you're setting up a document, you wish to change the pages left to right. You can quickly do so without changing the content. Right, fantastic. So hopefully that was good for your facing pages. I will also, hopefully, because the time goes way too fast, I want to focus real quick on the paragraph styles. I didn't see in the chat if there was anyone that knew the next styles. Let's see. I think there was Barbara saying I do. Facing, paging. Yeah, there was not much coming up on the next styles. So let me go ahead and moving with that. Stacy saying my life will never be the same. Good. We're here to improve our work. Perfect. So again, you can shuffle your pages. If you want to number them as well, just real quick, you can go ahead into the parent pages and then head to type, insert special character, make sure that you select markers and then select current page number. Now, before doing so, don't do like I did, which I forgot. You want to first create a text area. So use the type tool to create an area where this actual marker can go. So first select that area, then insert special character, marker, create current page. And you will see that to any pages to which this parent is applied to, now you will have the number of the page just like so. And because it's inside your parent page, which literally works like a background, first of all, it will change automatically. So you will see they will be automatically numbered, but also you can do whatever you want because they're not editable. If you want to edit, you can always double click on the parent and then, you know, maybe you can move it down here. You can do whatever you want. You can style them and so on. But as I say, let's go back here to our menu and learn how to style it. So we saw before, even with our Illustrator challenge, that in order to style the text, you can use paragraph styles. Those are very useful to keep consistency. So real quick, I know that here I have a title, which is starter, then I have the text, and then I have the actual food. So it looks like I have 3 different styles. One is the main body copy, which is the first one that I always start with. Then I have a main heading, which will be starter and mains, and then I have the food title. So you can call it food title or maybe headline, whatever you prefer. So I'm just going to go ahead and you can do whatever you want. You can start by selecting your text, or you can also just simply work by using the paragraph styles. So I'm going to go ahead and find the paragraph style, bring it over here, and I'm just going to go ahead and create a new paragraph style, double click on it. By the way, this normal is what is imported from Word. So I will just let it go for now and just create another one. Again, click on the plus icon to create a new one. And then here I'm gonna do, you can call it text. I call it body copy. That's how we usually call the text. And then you can use basic character formats in order to style your text. You can choose any text you like. Don't forget that you can always hit on preview to actually see the text taking shape. Oh, I quite like this Courier New. It's kind of like giving a little bit more of a tapas menu. But let's see if we can find one of, I think it's called Work Sans, one of my favorite fonts at the moment. I think it's so nice, and it has, I think it's nice and wide, so it's easy to read. So Work Sans is the one that I'm going for. Size, I'm happy with a size 12. Leading is the space in between the line. So I usually tend to give it a little bit of a breathing room. Something like 16 works. Now in advanced character formats, in indents and spacing, we can start by styling the space between paragraph of the same style. So that means that we've seen before, if we have different paragraph styles, we can change the space in between the line. But here you can actually start working within paragraph of the same style. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a 2 millimeter. And again, we give a little bit of a breathing room. And that's every time that there is a return, we have a little bit of a breathing room there. So once we're done here, I think we're quite happy with this. I'm going to go ahead and click on OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and highlight the word starter. And here we can go ahead and create another paragraph style. In this case, I will recommend a different paragraph style if you want to change something like the space after. In this case, like I really want to make the space after much bolder under the paragraph style, under this paragraph style here. I'm going to call this one title just to give it a hierarchy. You can change the character style here to whatever we want. I'm just going to choose integral because I know that is nice and bold, and I'm just going to make it bigger. So something like 20 probably is a bit too much. Maybe we can keep it 18, just like so. And again, we've done our indent and spacing, so there is more space. And then I'm going to click on OK. Now, what it comes here, I'm just going to delete this description right now because we don't need it. What it comes after here is actually the name of the actual food. And I know we have like 5 minutes. I really want to move forward, so I can go ahead and start to style this text. So in this case, instead of using, actually, let's go ahead and use a paragraph style so we can use next style. Again, I'm going to press on the little plus icon, double click on it, and I'm going to call this one food name. And the difference here, so I'm going to base it on the work stance family, but I'm going to make it semi-bold and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then I'm also going to give it a little bit more space. So again, maybe 1 or 2 space after, but also I want to make sure that the space before is even a little bit more. So there is distance between the food. Now, what I'm going to start to do here is also set these next styles, which basically set the styles that come after a return. Now, I have the title, then I have the food name, and then I have the food description. So I misspelled, by the way, this body copy, it just means body copy. This is the text description. So the next style that comes after the food name is the food description. So I'm going to go ahead and select body copy, which is the food description. And I'm going to click on OK. And after the body copy, it usually comes another title. So sorry, another food name. I'm actually going to change this because otherwise it's a little bit confusing. So I'm going to call this one food description. And in this case, the next style that comes after it is the food name, because we have a food name and a tag and a food description, food name and food description, food name and food description. So what I would strongly suggest to do is to have this style set for your text. And what you can see here, if we have, for example, all this text over here, and what I'm going to do is just to split these two lines. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy the mains into a different text. So by the way, if you have this little red icon, it looks like there is overflown text. So that means that there is more text coming up. Use the option Command C. That will be Alt Control C if you're working on a window machine to extend the text. Double click on the text that you are looking to select, press Command C to copy, and you can simply paste it into a separate tab. And this is simply to show you how this paragraph style works. Perfect. So here, what are we going to do is also having the starter into a separate one. Again, just to show you the beauty of the paragraph style. So maybe we can have the starter here at the top, and then here we have our text. Now, how do we get this next style to roll out automatically? And that's so useful. Let me zoom in so you can see it properly. This is so useful for long menu. Usually I will style everything in one single text box. But in this case, when you have so many items with the same paragraph styles, they swap between one and the other. Again, food title, food description, food title, food description. I will have to highlight and then make sure that I change it from food description to food name and so forth and so on. But now if we select the text box that contain your text, and then we select whatever is the first one that we're starting with, in this case is food description, and right click on it, we have the option to apply food description and then its next style. Now bear in mind that we're applying next style. So after the food description, we set to have the food title. And after the food title, we have the food description. So if everything works and if everything is set up okay, once we click on it, look what happened there. Everything goes and starts to make sense because we have the description and the title. It looks like I've actually started with the wrong one. I have to start with the food name. Don't worry about it so quickly. Just simply apply food name and that style. Boom. And here it is. And it actually makes sense. So all your menu can be styled in one click. You first select the paragraph style that you want to use and then select the style that you want. Remember, if you simply select the text and you select the style, it's not going to get applied. You want to right click on it or press the control and then control click on the actual style that is the first one. So in this case, food name, and then apply food name and then next style, and it will roll on the next styles. Again, for those of you who just joined, all you have to do is to set the next styles, and you can always change it here from the paragraph style. So it's a hidden, it's a hidden tool that allows you to roll out your styles. Now, real quick for the tab. Whenever we have a tab, I love to use tabs, especially for prices. It doesn't look that we add a tab over here. We can always bring up, I know we have like 1 minute, but I think that's so important for menus. I'm going to go ahead and show the hidden character. That's Option Command I. That will be Alt Control I if you're working on a Windows machine. You can see the tab looks like this little double arrow. I'm going to go ahead and put a few here where we have the text. And by the way, if something like that happens, it's just because you do not have the return there. So it looks like there was an issue with my line for the next styles. You do have to have a return. That's how it actually works. If you have more than one return, it will not apply correctly. So that should have actually fixed it. Fantastic. So I don't think I have the time to add all the tabs, but I'm just going to add a few in between the space, the text here, so you can just see it at work. Let's see if we can actually make it happen. Here we go. We're nearly done them all. But here it is. So make sure to add just one tab. You will see that they all look absolutely different, and the actual text, it looks all over the place. We have prices that are not aligned properly, but all we have to do is to head to the main, whatever is the style that has that tab. In this case is the food name, and we can head to tab, and we can also apply a right align tab, and look what happens. The tab that is actually part of the specific style will be automatically set to a specific area of your page. Isn't that super cool? So if you can see here, the tab is moving all together at the same time inside my page, just like so. So if you want, you can literally see it moving live. You can put it to the very end of the page or whatever you prefer. I think that's so super cool. That works also when you are working in columns. And then you can click on OK, and that's automatically applied everywhere you have a tab. So your price looks nice and neat. Of course, feel free to break down anything and apply and just to give it a little bit of room. And all you're left to do here is then head to your little layers. Make sure that you click the background, and you can select an image or any color you wish. And I'm just going to press the letter W. I know we have 1 minute to make sure that we start from our bleed, so we don't have our document background cut out, although hopefully my stream doesn't get cut out over here. And then you can apply a color. Now make sure that you also select the background layer once you do so, and then click and drag to create any document, any background you want. And of course, don't forget to apply a color to your menu there. You can further edit your paragraph style by changing colors simply by double clicking on it. But don't forget to always create a copy. Command C, set it to the outline text. Press Command Option Shift V to paste it, and then Shift Command O to outline it. Remember, this is so important before saving and exporting. We talked about exporting just before at the very beginning of the stream. So unfortunately, it is time to say goodbye. I will be back tomorrow with more challenges in Illustrator, and how to is of course back every Tuesday. But don't forget that there is more Adobe Live coming up. So grab a glass of water and come back for more fun here with the wonderful Adobe Live family. Thank you so much, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.